and welcome to the final show of the series. Well, the biggest, life-changing news of the week was definitely when we found out how Nigella says microwave.
But I still need a bit of milk, full fat, which I've warmed in the microwave.
What does she cut food with, a kniffy? Now, the second biggest story was all about Brexit. Sorry, Brexit. It was the absolute final, immovable deadline. So, what happened?
The Brexit trade talks go into extra time as the UK and EU agree to keep talking.
Boris Johnson and the European Commission president say both sides are still very far apart.
It's like a turd that won't flush. Mind you, I'm not surprised Boris didn't get a deal, given the bollocks he was talking.
This was kind of a bit like twins, and the UK is one twin, the EU is another, and if the EU decides to have a haircut, then the UK has got to have a haircut.
What the fuck are you talking about? I bet the EU were baffled. Mr. Johnson has been here to discuss the fishing quotas. Who wants pigtails? What? I don't know. I know that face. Somebody wants a mohawk. Haircuts. Boris Johnson is the last man to be lecturing people about hair. He looks like he's been sprinkled with alpaca pubes and wired to a Van de Graaff generator. So not only does he look like shit, did you hear about his attempt at charm? As Boris Johnson spotted the EU's chief Brexit negotiator, Michel Barnier, approaching, he attempted to break the ice with a moment of humour. And what was that humour? Pointing a finger at him, he declared, "You gave me COVID." And we wonder why we didn't get a deal. You nearly fucking killed me, you bastard! Stay away from this froggy wanker, he's absolutely riddled. Right, let's negotiate. Where'd you stand on dreadlocks? It's nuts, you know? Business is paralysed, ports are gridlocked. It's even hit the royal family. The Queen delays filming Christmas speech amidst Brexit uncertainty.
No, I need to wait, you know? I need to make sure he's definitely fucked it before I call him a bellend. I don't want to be on the wrong wave, you know? Is that right, Phil? It's a great idea, Liz, yes. You want me to stick anything in the microwave? Yes, I do, actually, yeah. Prince Andrew's fucking head, yeah. Again in the papers, Andrew. Again in the papers.
So what is going to happen with Brexit? I'll let Captain Haircut explain.
There's now a strong possibility that we will have a solution that's much more like an Australian relationship with the EU than a Canadian relationship with the EU. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Yes, it does. Like, an Australian deal and no deal are exactly the same thing. All he's done is given it a new name. It's bullshit. If your taxi driver drove off a cliff and went, "It's all right, mate, it's not a cliff, it's an Australian-style road," you'll be like, "It's fine then." You can't change the name to make it sound better.
I'm not drink driving, officer. I'm mobile wine tasting.
You're going to prison?
Not if I call it a hotel.
It's ridiculous. Now, if you think an Australian deal is good, listen to what an ex-Aussie PM had to say.
You've chosen a very courageous time to leave the largest free trade zone in the world.
Which is Australian for, "You fucking fucked, mate." And he could be right. A no-deal Brexit could cost the economy more than COVID. It could leave us with food shortages. I mean, Christ, yoghurt could become an occasional luxury. Jesus, 2020 was bleak. The height of decadence next year is a fucking Muller fruit corner.
Eat a little bit at a time, save it.
This is the maddest. Brexit to send price of dildos and butt plugs soaring. I don't remember that on the side of a bus. 350 million for a butt plug. Or as Nigella calls them, butt plug A's. Elsewhere, I don't know why I looked to you, that was a bit... In case you want to know where you can get a cheap dildo from. Elsewhere, there's been more bleak COVID news. There is a new strain, which is horrible. Horrible, it's a new word I've invented. London's in Tier 3. Will Christmas bring a third wave? One thing we do know, the vaccines are going in and people are delighted.
The effort to vaccinate the most vulnerable people has gathered pace today.
Almost 300 GP practices are preparing to join the COVID mass vaccination programme.
One of the first people in the world. How do you feel about it?
I don't think I feel about it at all, except that I hope I aren't not going to have the bloody bug now.
Yes, if that bloody bug comes near me, I should be utterly vexed. I'm sorry to say the whole thing's been an absolute hullabaloo.
Brilliant. Did you see him slam Piers Morgan?
I know a lot about you, actually, Martin, because I found you such a brilliant interviewee.
Yes, you do.
I also discovered, and this is extraordinary.
Now, who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Piers Morgan? Never heard of you.
You look like a testicle that's been cooked in the microwave. Not that it's all been joyous. Remember Margaret Keenan? Go on, Margaret! The first woman to get jabbed. Well, anti-vax conspiracy theorists have gone mental. Most people think she's a sweet old lady that got the first jab. But according to their hilarious bullshit, she's dead, she's being played by an actor, and she's a member of the Illuminati. All because she did this with her hands. Apparently, doing this means you're a secret lizard who runs the world. And what I don't get, if you were in the Illuminati, you'd probably keep it a secret. You wouldn't tell people what you do. You don't see Boris Johnson wearing a T-shirt that says, utterly useless twat. And I'm going to say something pretty controversial here. I'm not sure 90-year-olds are trying to take over the world. And even if they were, I'm not bragging. But if she came for me, I am 100% confident I could fuck her up. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just saying if she was truly a threat to mankind, I would knock that dead, alive Illuminati actor the fuck out! It's ridiculous. How are little old ladies in wheelchairs a threat? What, are they at care homes hunting down nurses? Oh, Jesus. It wasn't just Margaret. Remember William Shakespeare? The second guy that got the jab. Well, apparently, his name is code. Shakespeare equals a name that means to brandish a spear, brackets weapon. Also, William equals short for Bill equals Bill Gates. Are you getting it yet? No. These nutters can join the dots on anything. Pfizer sounds like Tizer. Tizer, red like blood. Who drinks blood? Vampires. What do vampires turn into? Bats. Illuminati. But this is all the tip of the iceberg. Over in America, they're a whole different level of crazy.
We don't have the vibrational frequency to host that virus.
And I taught her that.
So if you don't have that vibrational frequency right here, you're not going to get it.
We can't get COVID because we're good at wobbling. I taught her that. Listen to how their science works.
We don't have the vibrational frequency to get COVID?
Correct. Do you know that everything in this universe vibrates?
No. Everything in your bedside drawer does. I thought wanking turned you blind. She's freaked herself crazy. Now, talking of sticking one in the chamber, this guy wants to use guns to solve his problem.
When they come for my kids with this non-tested COVID vaccine, I'm going to give them an insurance policy courtesy of Glock on their forehead, okay? And I don't want to do that, guys. I'm not inciting violence.
I mean, you are big gloves. You just said you'd shoot someone in the head. Poor old Joe Biden. How do you convince people like that to get a jab? That is a tough job. Not the toughest. The toughest is the poor fucker that found this out. 4 lions at Barcelona Zoo test positive for coronavirus. Open wide. We need a bigger swab. But it's still pretty tough. Luckily, Biden's really going for it.
The US President-elect Joe Biden has promised that during his first 100 days in office, 100 million Americans will be vaccinated against coronavirus.
amazing. So, what's Trump been doing? He's been holding maskless rallies and talking about shit like this.
I like cucumbers. I'm the only one. I like cucumbers.
Two things. Nigella calls them cookie cumbers. And two, you're not the only one who likes cucumbers. What about these two?
Everything in this universe vibrates.
Mind you, if you think... madam, step away from that dishwasher. Mind you, if you think talking about vegetables was bad, listen to this.
The Trump administration turned down an opportunity to buy millions of extra vaccine doses from Pfizer over the summer.
Which means the US can't get more Pfizer vaccines before June. It's almost like Trump's doing anything he can to sabotage Biden. Imagine what he'd be doing the last morning that he leaves the White House. Hide the staplers. Take the batteries out of the TV remote. Melania, take a shit and do not flush. Still, on a positive note, America only has 35 days left until they never have to think about Trump again. I think these guys put it best. Joining after the break, when I'll be chatting to comedian and host of The Masked Singer, Joel Dommett. Welcome back to the show. Now it's time for life lessons, and this week it's all about favourite Christmas memories.
My favourite Christmas memory of all time always revolves around Family Feuds. And the thing I remember was 2 years ago, filming my mum and dad on Instagram Live for about 70 minutes while they tried to get a Blu-ray to work in the DVD player. They nearly got divorced, physical violence was threatened upon each other, and the whole time my mum had a Santa hat on.
Christmas 2012, when my dad bought me a television. I can't.
My favourite Christmas moment ever was when I got myself a Christmas present because no other bastard was gonna buy me shit. So I wrapped up this Christmas present, I put it under the tree, and I tried to forget what the Christmas present was. And then I went down on Christmas Day, opened up the present, and I was like, shit, man, I got this Pearl Jam CD. I was pretty surprised. I didn't know who the fuck got me this shit.
I'll let you into a secret here. Is everyone who doesn't technically celebrate Christmas, but you still get the time off, that's like a cheat code, isn't it? Sometimes you have to pretend you celebrate Christmas, though, or your manager says, yo, come sweep the floors and that. Don't say it.
My favourite Christmas moment ever is when the presents eventually stop barking. It's all quiet.
We were eating a mince pie and I hadn't come out to my mum and dad. And there was something about the mince pie that I thought, I'm gonna do this now. So I said, Mum, Dad, I'm gay. And my mum looked at me and went, I love you, amazing. Now we eat your mince pie.
Now, my first guest tonight is a comedian, presenter, and all-round good guy. Joel Dommett is a best-selling author and stand-up comedian.
And she went to sleep in my bed. I slept on the floor, right? And yeah, it's nice. Oh my God, he's not a rapist.
He charmed the nation when he appeared on I'm a Celeb back in 2016, and since then has become one of the most popular TV presenters in the country. And now he brings us the brand new series of The Masked Singer. Please welcome Joel Dommett! now, my friend.
Oh, I've always wanted to sit on these papers.
They're all right, aren't they?
They're great, mate. Well done.
Thank you. What a lovely
done with the place.
It's weird to interview you because, like, we briefly lived in the same village.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
It's really, really strange.
2 years.
Like, I used to go on the school bus with your brother and sister, and because you'd gone to university, I think, already.
Yes,
So I basically just lived in the same village as your mum and dad.
Right.
And did you, like, spend much time in Rockhampton?
Very little. So it's like this tiny little village in sort of South Gloucestershire.
Yeah. There's nothing that happens in that village. Like, there's 2 cricket pitches, but there's no shop, there's no pub. I used to go to that phone box just down the road from your house. There was one phone box.
I know it was near a goat.
It was near a goat?
It was, wasn't it? There was that one goat there.
There's just one. This is how rural it is.
Yeah.
This is the most Bristolian conversation. Because there was nothing to do, I used to go to that phone box to do prank phone calls.
Did you?
We'd get to the phone box and we would never be able to remember a cool number to call, you know, like a good prank phone call. So we used to always call 0800 282820 because it sounded like an owl, so it's easy to remember.
Yeah.
It's an insurance company. And genuinely, just used to call up every day and get a quote.
I mean, as far as rebellion goes, it's not up there, is there? Do you know what I mean? Oh, the wild days of my youth.
It was... that was all you had to... There's all farms there, so there's nothing to do. This is a terrible place to reveal this. I once kissed your sister on a bench on the cricket pitch. But,
I mean, it's fine, help yourself. I was never interested. I know we're from the West Country, but, you know... that's Did you really, though?
I did, yeah, I genuinely did.
What year?
Probably about 6 months ago.
So she was cleverly disguised as a goat. And so are you going back to Rockhampton? You're probably delighted that you don't have to.
Yeah.
Given how tedious it is. But are you going back? Is that it?
I don't know. This year might be the first year that I sort of wake up in my own house for Christmas.
Weird, eh?
I think so. It's very straight. It's that point in adulthood where now I'm married and I feel like maybe I can not wake up in my parents' house and open presents on the end of a bed.
Yeah. And, of course, Christmas is huge for you because The Masked Singer starts on Boxing Day, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like mad.
What's that like? Is it a fun show to work on?
It's so fun.
Yeah.
The crew really enjoy it as well because they're all guessing. So, like, we're all guessing for real. Like, none of us know. There's only, like, 5 or 6 production staff, I think, that know out of, like, 200, 250 people.
What, none of you know?
None of us know. Like,
Come
nobody
on,
knows.
And surely, if you see, like, James Blunt in the studio, you're like, well, Blunt's in it. Like, Blunt's not rocking up wearing a hedgehog, is he?
Well, this is the mad thing. It goes real deep, right? So they get into their cars. They have to get into their cars wearing, like, a sort of almost a motorbike helmet and a hoodie that says, "Don't speak to me," on it, right?
Really?
Genuinely.
Wow.
And then they get out of the car, and then also, if they have, like, a stylist or an agent or anyone like that comes with them,
what if
they
they're in
also
a car
wear it.
crash?
They...
And they're just sort of staggering from it like that. And people are like, can't ask him who he is.
Don't speak to me.
Can you give us any sort of hints as to who's in it?
Absolutely not.
Really?
It's like...
What would it take for you to reveal who won?
A kiss with your sister.
Oh.
I'm sorry I keep rating. I'm so bad at that.
Her son looks a lot like you.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. And you were, not just TV, you've got were you in the middle of a tour? Or were you...
Yes, yeah. So I got 10 dates in, I think, before it all sort of collapsed and the world fell apart. And I just got to the point, so frustrating, because I just got to the point where I was starting to, like, enjoy it, and I knew the I knew the order of it. And I was, like, playing with it, but, like, having fun.
Because your show was about getting married. Because at the time you were newly married.
Yeah.
But now you're, like, 2 years married.
It always used to feel so relevant, you know, being like, I've just got married, this stuff is happening. I feel like now I'm going to be more like, yeah, I'm married, and it's fine, you know? Yeah. It's very weird going from essentially getting married and then go straight into lockdown. And I feel like we've gone from getting married to being married for 40 years immediately.
Yeah.
Like
It's like dog years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lockdown is like dog years. You've learned everything. You've finished. I've told you every story now. How did you propose?
I put on a velvet tuxedo and I lit 150 candles.
Okay.
And I also had a candelabra because I wanted candles in my hands.
Sure.
And I put on some classical music.
Can I stop you just there? What's the point of all the candles?
Well, I feel like there's a level of candles that's romantic, and I realised that I surpassed that.
Yes.
And it kind of just tips into seance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You were somewhere between seance and sex dungeon. Right. So continue. So you've got candelabra, you're walking in like a darts player making his entrance.
Exactly. And I realised that the classical music was really bumming me out. So I changed it to like a soundtrack classical because it's kind of just a bit more upbeat. And then she got home and she knocked on the door and I opened it and it's only when I opened the door that I realised how much I looked like someone who welcomes you to like a haunted house. Do you know what I mean? Come in. And then she immediately obviously is worried about a fire hazard. She starts blowing out candles, not thinking about it being a romantic situation.
And there's smoke everywhere.
There's smoke everywhere. And she's opening windows. And then I get down on one knee and I get on one because I have to go below the smoke line. And I say, Hannah Cooper, will you marry me? Oh, this is honestly true. I say, will you marry me? The moment I say, will you marry me, the Jurassic Park theme tune comes on.
Which is kind of uplifting music.
It's quite
Please
rousing.
tell me she went...
Yeah, exactly. Put the ring on her finger. Yeah, but that's, yeah.
And she said yes.
And she said yes, miraculously. So how did you do it?
I proposed in Tokyo, in the hotel where they do Lost in Translation.
Oh, nice.
And she was jet-lagged, and I thought I'll get her when she's tired. Do you want to marry me? She's like, yeah. And she started crying. And I said, I've got to go, I'm off to do a sumo fight. And then I had the shit kicked out of me in a sumo. And you've done sumo as well.
Yeah.
Horrible, innit?
It's, oh my God, I'm so naturally bad at it.
Yeah.
It's just like, you need to have like flexibility of your hips.
Yeah.
And like that shuffle that they do.
And it's that thing, when they push you, you can't be 100% certain that one of your bollocks isn't going to pop out.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, and you're like, oh, fucking, like that. And do you know what I mean? Like, it's bad enough being beaten up, but being beaten up on national TV with a nut hanging out. Now, well, weirdly, talking of all this fighting, you've got skills.
Oh, well...
Why didn't you use your powers?
Basically, I was good at nunchucks when I was a kid. I did taekwondo when I was younger, but I was really bad at it, so I sort of... It was one of the... Because it was so isolating where we lived, it was the only thing I could do without travelling anywhere, was I'd do nunchucks in the garden and just do it for 8, but it's not fighting, it's basically a dance routine. It's like the sort of ribbon event in gymnastics. And there was this kid who used to beat me up in school, like all the time. And you know how when you're a kid you come up with weird ways of dealing with it. And I once made a video on a VHS of me doing nunchucks in my garden for, I'm going to probably say two or 3 minutes, just constantly just like looking at the camera. And then I put it onto a VHS tape and put it through his letterbox. And I thought that would do the business. I wrote on it in black marker pen, I wrote, "To Chris, this is what I'm capable of." And it didn't work.
It didn't, no. And your chucks are there, aren't they?
I've got my chucks here. And actually, there's a funny thing about this. So I then did this show called Nunchuck Silver Medalist 2002.
Yeah.
And at some point I say during it, like, if you don't know what nunchucks are, it's like 2 dildos attached by handcuffs or something like that. And
I mean, that's pretty sound.
It's pretty sound advice.
Absolutely.
And I brought them along just because I saw them for the first time since I did that recording, and I actually made nunchucks out of a pair of dildos for that record.
Wow.
The weirdest part was I went into a sex shop and I just was looking around the sex shop for that specific, like, weighted dildo. And in the end, I bought a double dildo and had to saw it in half. Oh, it was really a horrible moment. I was, like, sawing a very realistic dick in half.
Do you want to... I mean, thank fuck for social distancing.
Would you prefer me to do some chuck skills with the dildos or the real ones?
I think we all know the answer to that.
These ones...
Please swing your dildo around.
It's... where do you want me to stand?
Just over there, just away from...
Over there. I'm so sorry. This is such a good show, and
It's great. No.
I fucking brought it down.
No, you haven't. It's all right, mate. I think, fuck it, let's do this properly. You show us some truck action, and let's put some music over the top to make this really special.
Yeah, let's do it. Right, go on.
That is what he's capable of!
Yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for my guest, the fantastic Joel Dommett!
Thank you, Uncle.
Join me after break when I'll be asking your questions to Matt Lucas. It's time for my People's Poll. This week it's all about Christmas. According to a YouGov poll, more than half the people in the UK wouldn't mind spending Christmas under restrictions. So, since it's going to be weird, I asked you for your best Christmas stories ever, and a few of the people who replied are with me here now! So, let's have a chat about how Christmas used to be. Who should we start with? Sonia, tell me about your Christmas.
So basically, it was when I was a lot younger.
Lovely
I always
accent
wanted
straight away, Sonia. I love it.
Yorkshire.
It's beautiful.
So I always wanted a pet budgie.
Right.
So on Christmas, my mum went and got me one.
Yeah.
But as a surprise, she kept it at my uncle's, and he then brought it over Christmas Eve while I were asleep.
Yes.
So my mum popped it under the tree, went to bed. Christmas morning came. I was buzzing. I sneaked downstairs before everyone else. Opened the living room door. There was yellow feathers absolutely everywhere. It looked like Sweetie Pie had been murdered, practically.
Yeah.
Then it turns out my mum forgot that she locked the cat in the living room the night before.
On the plus side, your cat had the best Christmas ever. There you go. This is what I asked for! Wow. Oh, no. See, a lot of people don't like that story, but I'm looking at... See, I look on the positive side of things. So, you know, the cat's got 9 lives and 2 dinners. It's absolutely fine. Did you ever get the budgie?
No, I went back upstairs, and then when I got up, I had to act absolutely buzzing over a budgie cage with no budgie.
So what, and they never got you a budgie? They just kept the game? Oh, my God, that's great. Wow, that is... Well, here's what you could have won. Like that. The cat's there going, if it helps, it was delicious. I tell you what, I'm fucking stuffed here. Oh, wow. That is a phenomenal story, Sonia. Well done. Jay, tell me about your... Hey, Jay, tell me about your Christmas.
Mine, well, it started about 7 or 8 years ago. My mother decided to buy all the men in the family quirky underwear.
Yes.
Mine, at that time, were an elephant, and the trunk is a sleeve where you put...
Yeah, I can figure it out. Yeah, look here. Yeah, I think we were all on the same page there. It's fine. Like that. Please tell me you were dangling it in front of the cat. So what happened next? So you've got these flash elephant pants, yeah?
Well, they went in the bin. It was the next year that it got worse.
Yeah.
She got me leather ones that come with a whip attached.
I like this.
My new girlfriend at the time also got crotchless panties.
Wow, and your mum got a video camera.
Yeah.
Come on.
There is a picture of us somewhere.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm sure there is.
And did you...
Yeah, I like the panties stayed.
Yeah?
But my boxers went in the bin.
Well, that's very selfish of you. Because,
Yes.
you know, she's got the lovely sexy knickers. She might have quite enjoyed watching you all leathered up. Do you know what I mean? Your cock and balls. Your cock and balls there looking like David Hasselhoff on top of the Berlin Wall. Amy, tell me about your Christmas.
Hi, Russell.
Hello, Amy.
So, what's ended up being a Christmas tradition in our family started 10 years ago. We usually go to my grandma's for Christmas dinner, and my grandma is a stereotypical feeder.
Yes.
She comes in with a tray of meringues, loaded with cream.
Yes.
You know, all the fruit on top, strawberries, raspberries, all of that.
I'm salivating.
At this point, Grandad has had enough.
Yep.
He's in his armchair snoring away. He's got his Christmas cracker hat askew.
Yep.
Yeah. And my uncle sees his opportunity, sees his target, grabs one of these meringues, slaps it in Grandad's face.
Nice.
Grandad's got cream all up his head, all up his bald head, coming out his nostrils, all up the back of the armchair.
Yeah.
And basically that's been a Christmas tradition for 10 years now, is that we wait for Grandad to fall asleep, hit him in the face with a meringue.
I mean, I'm so glad you explained it, because if you'd have told the short version of that, of every Christmas we cream pie Grandad, it's so different, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? We're like, whoa! I'd rather be a dead budgie than watch that. So your poor Grandad is literally, he's having to stay awake all Christmas Day. I love the idea your Grandad's snorting coke, just, gotta stay up, man, gotta stay up. Otherwise you're like, fucking boom! I'm fucking lactose intolerant, you bastards!
I would say Grandad's accepted his fate. He doesn't even bother trying to stay awake or anything. He's just accepted that he's going to get meringue in his face every Christmas.
Your Grandad's probably delighted this Christmas. He's like, thank fuck for COVID, I'll have a nice day. Those were absolutely fantastic stories. Please give it up for all the people that were on my Christmas People's Poll! Now it's time for the part of the show where I bet the guests and you ask the questions. This week, I was joined by one of our national treasures, Matt Lucas.
Matt Lucas is one of Britain's most beloved figures. Starting his career as the legendary George Dawes on Shooting Stars, he then became a national treasure thanks to his work with David Walliams on Little Britain.
Yeah, you look very well. You had your hair done? No, not really.
Since then, he's established a career in Hollywood, starred in Doctor Who, became co-host of the Great British Bake Off, and took his talents to the stage in Les Mis. And now, he's bringing us his new Christmas single, Merry Christmas, Baked Potato. Here we are with Matt Lucas.
Hello.
You look, if you don't mind me saying, you look like you're wearing something particularly comfy.
Well, it's comfy, but also alluring, Russell, because you know you're a gay icon. Do you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, whenever I chat to someone and they talk about comedians, they'll go, oh, I like Russell Howard. Because you're ageless.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to be a bit like one of those blokes that I'll age one night. Do you know what I mean? I'll kind of wake up and I'll look full pickled onion.
The perils of being boyish.
Now, me and my family, huge fans of Shooting Stars.
Oh, thank you.
And what's really fascinating about you is you've had so many little moments of silly that you've just dropped on the nation. Like, we had the Peanuts song played at our wedding, me and my wife.
Really?
So that was on, yeah, it's her favourite song, so it was on the list halfway through. So this surreal situation that everyone's suddenly going, Peanuts! But you forget what was obviously a little silly moment for you, kind of lives on.
Peanuts! It was inspired by when I used to go to Arsenal in the 80s. There were these blokes who had long hair like that and rotten teeth, and they would sell peanuts for 30p a bag. But I think there was just something magical happened when I walked out there and Vic and Bob saw me, and then we all just got the giggles, you know, and I couldn't get through it. I wrote the music as well, and I'm always like, you know, I wrote the music to Peanuts. I didn't just come up with the word peanuts at those intervals.
I mean, being silly is much maligned. Like, kids are often told, don't be silly. And yet, it has such a power because it reduces us all to kind of children again, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's important to find your inner silly. And sometimes you do silly and it does go a bit wrong, but if the intention was just to be a bit silly, that's noble, I think.
Well, you've actually got a book out, we've got it here. It's called Matt Lucas, My Very, 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 Very Silly Book of Jokes.
There's actually 7 veries in the title.
Okay, did I get that right?
You said 5.
Oh, I apologise.
No,
very,
it's
very,
fine.
very,
It's
very,
fine.
very, very, very silly.
I'll go back and ask the publishers to republish the book.
So how did this come about then? So it's a joke book for kids, isn't it?
It's a joke book for kids, but it's got me all the way through it, making little comments. There's little cartoons of me, and it's a joke book, but it's very personalised. I just thought it would be a fun thing to do, a joke book. Why not? Even before the pandemic, life is still kind of stressful. So it's important to be silly sometimes.
And isn't it funny, like how singing about a baked potato, again, provided a bit of respite for the nation. But when did you know that you thought, I'm going to bring this out and I'm going to raise money for the NHS?
Yeah, so I was watching the news and people were sort of not distancing and were just in denial. And I had this song on Shooting Stars, and it just was a moment where I rewrote the lyrics and just put it on Twitter, and I didn't really think anything of it. But the tweet went viral, and one of my friends said, why don't you record Baked Potato as a song? Because it had really gone viral. And then I thought, oh yeah, I could do that and raise funds for Feed NHS. And I did a duet with Gary Barlow, because he was doing duets.
Which was terrific. Yeah.
On the day of release, and it went to #1 in the downloads charts that week, and #1 on the iTunes charts, and it even got into the top 40.
Keep your distance, make some space. Thank you, baked potato. Remember not to touch your face.
And obviously lots of kids in schools were singing it because it simplified the basic do's and don'ts of what you should and shouldn't do in a pandemic.
I've got to duet with Gary Barlow. Life made.
In fact, we've got a Merry Christmas Baked Potato book as well.
That's it, Merry Christmas Baked Potato. All downloads and streaming from this song go to Fair Share, because we've all been so inspired by what Marcus Rashford's done. So for them.
Hopefully it goes to Christmas #1, loads of money for Fair Share. Job's a good one. Now, we've got loads of questions from the audience, so I should get round to those. First, this is from Finn. Can you tell Matt he's a sexy bastard? So, Matt, you're a sexy bastard.
Oh, Finn might be a man.
He goes, hello. So, it's not hello, it's hello, Russ.
Oh, he's a lad.
So I'm guessing he
He's
thinks
a bit
he's
rough.
landed. Hello, Russ. He goes, hello, Russ. Firstly, tell Matt he's a sexy bastard. Whoop.
Thank you very much.
He's got that feel, sort of South End way. Also, ask him if he drinks Earl Grey.
Well, when I used to write with Williams, we would drink peppermint tea all day. And very occasionally, he would make a pot, which was 2 bags English breakfast tea, 1 bag Earl Grey. Very nice cocktail.
Really? Lovely stuff. And you two, you're writing again? Is that right?
Well, no, we would like to. We've had an idea for something. Mainly, we just message each other silly photos and jokes like most people do. Like most days, we'll WhatsApp each other something stupid. But yeah, I mean, we had a nice walk last week. That was lovely. Yeah.
Is it that annoying thing when you go for a walk and suddenly it's in the papers?
Well, I definitely look dishevelled next to David Walliams, who's sort of always been a very natty dresser. Is that what you would say? Can someone be a natty dresser? David's very natty. I'm a bit more. You know when you go to somewhere like Halfords and then they also just sell some T-shirts as well? And then, or just... I buy T-shirts in shops that aren't like a motorway service station, but they also just have a little rack of T-shirts. I can't be helped.
Now, we've got loads of video questions. We should pop those up now.
Hi, Matt. OK, so every Wednesday, I go cycling with your former geography teacher from Haberdashers, Mr. Holmes. And he told me that he taught you geography when you were there. I just have one question for you. What is the funniest memory you have of being with him in the classroom, so I can get back to him and tell him your response?
There you go. Great question.
I went back to the school to sort of give a talk and basically say, work harder than me or you'll end up like me. And I did see him there, and he was sort of ageless. It's weird, isn't it? You want your school teachers to be ageless, don't you? When you go back 20 years later, you want them to look exactly the same. Feels like a great betrayal that they're older.
What were you like at school? Were you kind of class clown?
I was very, very keen not to just be the kid with no hair, because it would have been very easy for that to have been the only thing I was. Oh, he's the kid with no hair. So I think I was quite driven to sort of develop a personality in a way so that I could sort of be more than just that, if that makes sense. So I tried doing sports. I wasn't very good at that. And I was a scorer in cricket.
Nice.
I got sacked from doing that.
Why?
Because I wrote down everyone's nicknames in the book. And also I was having a natter with the parents while they were watching the match, and I didn't keep the score. And the teacher said to me, it was Mr. Rose, and he said, "Never in the history of haberdashers have we had a cricket match that was incorrectly scored. You've blotted the school's copybook. You've blotted the school copybook, hundreds of years of matches. And now we have this scrap of paper. I don't know what to do. I can't put it in the school book. We don't have a correct record. What are we to do?" So I was relieved of my duties. So I ended up playing in school bands and doing school plays.
And when did you realise you were so gifted at kind of like accents and caricatures and...
I was at a party one night, and I remember being about 15, 16, and somebody said, oh, Matt does a good impression of someone. And then I sat there, and for about an hour I had the whole party in hysterics. It was like doing a stand-up set. Where I was doing impressions of everyone and just sort of making observations about them. And I was thinking, that's probably the funniest I've ever been in that hour.
Yeah.
So I was suddenly really popular with all the cool kids. You know, really popular with all the sort of handsome boys with blonde hair who played
Because you've just done this gig in a kitchen.
I just did like a really tight five. And then we used to have these parties at this guy's house most weeks, and people would smoke weed and they'd all get drunk and people would get off with each other, but not me, because I was a closet homosexual, Russell. And but I would use my comedy to entertain people so no one asked questions. And then one week I walked into the party and it was in full kind of flow, people humping, listening to Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin on vinyl.
Yeah.
You know, weed everywhere, you know, like really cool, the lights down low, and I went, guys, you have to see this. It's incredible. And I made everyone stop and watch Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. Wow. Now, was this a moment where the whole room went, wow? No.
No.
It was a moment where everybody went, what the fuck? And basically, it was the moment where I became like the social reject of the group.
Oh, well, no.
So I had this sort of brief 3 or 4 months with the cool kids, and then,
Oh, this is my mum.
Hello.
Hi, Matt. Big fan. What makes you happy?
Oh, it's a lovely little question.
I don't think it's fair to say sex in front of your mother, is it?
Of course it is.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be so vulgar. Do you know, when I go on YouTube, I watch videos of, like, Marines coming home and surprising their parents. They've been away for 2 years.
Yeah. It's pretty special, that kind of stuff, isn't it?
Or a mother and daughter being reunited after 35 years. And you think, well, why didn't you meet earlier? That's weird. Anyway, but like that. Also, I quite like it because I'm just sitting down. There's not too much exertion.
Nobody did that, did they? So there was lots of Joe Wicks during the lockdown. That's what you should have done. You should have sort of sat there and done the sit-down play.
But I'd say, yeah, from couch to fridge.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you what, I absolutely loved that. Thank you so much for being on the show, mate.
Thank you.
Have a lovely Christmas.
Thank you.
And all that.
And you too.
And have a wonderful New Year.
See you later.
Finally tonight, 2020 has been an absolute shit show, so I thought I'd ask the brilliant Flo and Joan to sum it all up. Please welcome Flo and Joan!
Cooey. We've had a lovely time. It's been a paper cut with a little squeeze of lime. We look forward to a new decade of hope and optimism. But what we got instead was a hornet nest of jism. No, not as many famous people died out of the blue, but in the general population there's a fair fucking few. You can write all this year's wrong-uns on a massive fuck-off scroll whilst you're punching out your neighbours for a slice of toilet roll. We pay the NHS in claps for saving all our lives, and we thank the frontline workers by not staying the fuck inside. Every politician pissed the bed but never had to quit. Maybe they should all retrain as people who aren't shit. Let's call this one a write-off, start again next year instead. Shoot this wank cannon into the sea and all go back to bed. You can blame it on whoever, but you can't deny the facts. They turned Cats into a movie, then it all went up the twat. We've had earthquakes, war and locusts, and the seas are getting higher. In Australia and California, everything's on fire. Concentration camps in China, Poland's women's rights infringed. Cause when the world's in trouble, why not boot it in the minge? And when it comes to children, they've not been done by halves. The US lost their parents and the UK let them starve. The new expert on trans lives is a wizard-loving sham. Sit down, JK Rowling, off your piss to Azkaban. The clown show that is Brexit has failed to make us laugh. They tried to spin their shit to silk and made a pooey scarf. Fuck the entire world, then fuck it all again. Except for New Zealand. Hi, when can we move in? You're doing great. The Carrots all kicked off when they saw a statue shatter, but thank God there's people standing up for all black squares matter. The police are meant to serve, but they're killing folks instead, so we gave them all more funding, cause that makes fucking sense. Americans hating snowflakes wearing masks was very cute, whilst they take their guns to Walmart to protect them from the fruit. I guess it's the fruit, that seems pretty scary.
When it comes to racism, this world is in denial. So let's cheer out this great year with a jolly Nazi Heil. The GOP dried out like a dog turd in the summer, where even Giuliani's head I tried to do a runner. Still you brought that Cheeto pig far to a glorious defeat. So let's toast off that rotten diaper bum-fingered sicky bastard mucky fucking dingle prick with a massive glass of bleach. So stick that gorgeous vaccine in my eyes and up my arse. And if it kills me, at least a sweet release from this year's farce. If you're anything but white and rich, you're never meant to win. So let's ball up 2020 and count it in the bin. Count it in the bin.
Bonjour! Thanks very much for watching the show. Have a wonderful Christmas, and here is the 2021. Good night, my friends. Good night!